Hi, I'm Mitch, and welcome to the Restoration Road. My guests today are Michelle and Jensen Snyder. Michelle has been through so much in the last few years that has inspired her daughter Jensen to write music and to bring it to people who are hurting. And what God is doing with this is absolutely amazing. Jensen, I feel like I'm part of your singing career. I used to introduce you when you'd sing the national anthem at Lakewood in probably 5th grade. Is that when you started, or did you start earlier?
Yeah, I think so.
I think singing the national anthem was probably 6th grade.
Maybe.
And I'd say, follow her on YouTube, iTunes.
did.
Oh, I just loved it. I just couldn't believe that we had that kind of talent hanging around.
She loved hearing that.
I'm so excited about how your career is continuing to take off, but I bet there's going to be this huge explosion at some point, and we're going to look back at this and think, wow, I knew her back then.
I hope.
When did you know you could sing? Like, you know, every girl probably sings to Taylor Swift songs and stuff like that, but when did you know there was something a little more in there?
I never really, and I still don't like to listen to myself sing.
What?
Really, ever. Because I
She's
can
her
see,
own worst critic.
yeah, I can see everything that I did wrong. But in 1st grade, my music teacher told my parents that I had a good singing voice, and I joined the Fort Wayne Children's Choir.
Tell me about the Fort Wayne Children's Choir.
So I've been with them for 8 years now.
She started in 1st grade.
I got to start early.
And did you get vocal training and lessons along the way?
They give you music theory lessons. We get to sing all different types of languages.
No
And I love
kidding.
that. And it's like a little family.
That is awesome. Well, I want to talk about this inspiration beside you. Michelle, you've been through a lot in a very short period of time. Let's talk about how all that unfolded. I think you thought you had a cold that was lingering, right?
Exactly, yes. My husband and my best friend kept saying, you need to just go to the doctor. You've got that cough that's driving everyone crazy. Just make sure you don't have walking, pneumonia or something. Like, finally, I went down and did it. And I only had bronchitis. I truly did just have bronchitis. They gave me a Z-Pack. And
You said, see, I told you so?
Yeah, but while I was there, I'm very blessed to have a wonderful family doctor, and he was checking everything over, and he heard a very strong heart murmur that he just hadn't ever noticed before. And he said, I just want to send you over for an echo just to double check that.
And you had never had a history of that you knew of? Like, sometimes when you're a kid, they'll say, oh, you got a little bit of a heart, nothing like that?
I was born with a heart murmur, but it went away.
Okay.
So yeah, throughout my life, nothing had ever been picked of it. So, that's actually quite common, those things seal up, and so no, it had never been brought up again. So,
So he tells you you have one. And
and I went over, and the next day they scheduled me for an echo, and I had that done and sent me out home. And then the next day, my doctor called me, and my doctor never calls me. So it was actually him. And he said, Michelle, I got your echocardiogram back, and you have bicuspid aortic valve disease.
Do you know what that was?
I had no clue.
No,
I was just like, okay. And and then he just proceeded to tell me that he's got me set up with a cardiologist for next week.
Now, how are you feeling at that moment? Is this like blowing your mind? You got your Z-Pack?
It was complete fog.
Yeah.
None of that, what he told me, even, I was still just kind of okay. Nothing had set in at all yet. And then until I met, I guess it was just a couple days later when I met with the cardiologist, and then I really started hearing what's going on. Then it was like, whoa.
And what was it?
Well, when you're bicuspid, you are actually born with that. I was born that way. Never knew it. It played out exactly like it was supposed to play out, because then by the time you're in your 40s, around that age, your valves start overworking themselves and building up like they get calcified. And basically what was happening is my aortic valve was leaking and it needed to be replaced.
Yeah, my dad had that.
And so the older you get, it gets to the point where, yes, you do start having symptoms. But I will tell you, I didn't have symptoms either. I really, you know, the shortness of breath and things like that you get. I'm a very active person. I'm a crazy realtor running kids, and life is always hectic, so I don't think I ever picked up on anything. But yes, I went to the cardiologist. They told me you have bicuspid aortic valve disease. They told me what it was. And they proceeded on then sending me to more tests, like a chest CT and with dye. And that's when then I get told I have an aneurysm on my aorta root. It's just like, okay.
And this is really like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I literally went in because I had a head cold. It was a blessing to have bronchitis.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing to have an amazing doctor that checked me out a little bit more and heard that heart murmur and cared enough to just have it looked at. Because bicuspid aortic valve disease, if you remember, like, you know, people know John Ritter.
Yes.
That's exactly what he had. That's how he passed away suddenly. He was bicuspid. He had the aneurysm, which is common. It grows from that, and his aneurysm burst. A lot of times you'll hear about athletes.
Yes.
It's the same thing. It's not, you know, they say these heart diseases are silent diseases, and it is one. So I was lucky enough to find out because I mean, there's no way to fix this other than open heart surgery and replacing that valve and fixing that aneurysm. So, yeah.
What's going on inside you as all this unfolds in a matter of weeks?
At that time when she told us, it was like, I thought I was going to lose my mom because of everything that she said. It was like, your heart is very important. So when I heard about all that, I was just like, am I going to even have my mom, like, at all? Or am I just going to lose her?
Did your prayers change to kind of focus on that most of the time?
Yeah, very much.
And could you sense anything from God? Any comforting, or did he bring other people in your life?
I know that in these moments, when I feel like he's not there, it's just because he's carrying me. But at that time, I doubted God because I thought
that's normal.
I thought I loved my mom so much, and why would he do this to my family? Like, I thought I did something wrong and that he was punishing me and my family. And so I just doubted him and everything.
Yeah. I heard a great message a pastor gave one time on doubt versus, I think he said disbelief instead of unbelief, so it was 2 D words. But doubting is normal, and it actually will bring you closer to God because you end up pursuing, what is this doubt? What is this uneasiness in me? And versus, you know, rejecting God. And so that's very authentic and transparent of you. Were you writing music at the time yet? No? Oh my.
She journals. She's always journaled a lot.
I write down a lot, all of my thoughts.
Yeah.
Just to get them out. It helps.
That's really cool. So this isn't the only challenge that's going on in her life and your life. Can you describe what else was happening?
Yeah, it was kind of a chronological order of things. My mom, her grandma, had battled breast cancer. And we kind of got through that. You know, that was a shock and a big thing and a big scary thing for us. And then, so Mom battled that, and we were with her every step of the way. I was with her at every chemo appointment she had. And then we lost my dad. We lost her grandpa. And that happened about 6 months prior to when I found out about my heart. And Jensen was very close to her grandpa. She's the only granddaughter, so Yeah, so she was real close to Grandpa. So, you know, dealing with my mom going through breast cancer and then losing Dad, and we were just kind of getting back on, you know, back to normalcy, and then we kind of got sucked with me out of nowhere. So that was kind of like the third thing in the chain.
And Jensen, you're 9, 10, 11 through this season.
Mm-hmm.
9, 10.
And so losing your grandfather, watching your grandmother almost go to the other side, and now your mom's got this, I see why it's so heavy on you
Yeah.
that you might lose your mom.
Yeah.
Well, what do the cardiologists recommend you do?
Open heart surgery. So.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was my next appointment, was meeting with a surgeon, and my husband and I went, and we were still, it was still kind of like, you know, it still wasn't all clicking with what was going on. And I will tell you, the first couple days, I was in a bad place. I really just like mad, like what in the world? No, I don't have time for this. I've got 2 young kids. You know, I said, this can't happen, you know? So there
You're pretty
was,
task-oriented, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I am. And so I had that going on in me, battling, and I just anger. I was mad. I was mad at God. And I'm telling you, it was about the second night after I had met with the cardiologist, and it was actually before I met with the surgeon even, but I went to bed and I prayed, and I woke up that next morning, and I was kind of like, okay, if this is what you're giving me, then let's go do this. I'm up for the challenge.
Wow.
And then we met with my surgeon, and we were going to get a second opinion. I had gotten on the phone. I mean, I'm, you know, on the internet looking up all this stuff, and I had actually made an appointment with Cleveland Clinic to get a second opinion. But then we met with the surgeon at Parkview at the Heart Institute, Dr. Lloyd, and he was amazing. I mean, and he spent over 2 hours with my husband and I, and he answered every one of our questions. He was just calm.
That's remarkable.
And we both felt so comfortable with him that I canceled my appointment with Cleveland. And I really felt at peace. I felt like, okay, God, I know I'm one of your warriors, and I'm up for this battle, and let's do this.
So do you think peace came from the prayer that night before the appointment?
I have to believe that was the last thing I did before I fell asleep, and I felt different the next morning. So
That's pretty cool.
I do.
So how long until your surgery after that 2-hour conversation with the surgeon?
Well, this was in November, and I ended up having my surgery on February 12th, which does seem like a couple months later. But I had a cruise in January.
Are you get to go on it or no?
Okay. No.
You got everything planned out, don't you?
Oh my gosh. We had a cruise booked with a whole bunch, a big group of us, like 20-some people, our friends, and I'm like, doctor, am I allowed to go on this cruise? Or, I mean, if I have to have surgery, then, you know, I understand. Does it have to be done now, or can it be done when we get back? And he said, as long as I didn't zip line or do scuba diving, I just had to relax by the pool and chill out. I was okay I was like, I can do that. That's exactly what I want to do.
You know what I'd start asking is, well, what about March? What about April? What about May? I'd find out how long we can chill and relax before we do it.
But see, the thing with me is that I just wanted to I knew when you're bicuspid, there's no way to fix it till you have surgery. So it just continually gets worse. And I know a lot of people in my position will wait. They'll wait till that aneurysm gets to a certain amount, till the last, but I don't want to wait, and I don't want to be restricted, you know? So, okay, so literally, we got back from the cruise on a Saturday. I went in on Monday. I had to have a heart catheterization.
Is that painful or anything?
Is the heart catheterization? Is a little discomforting, but I had a bruise the size of a football. I was proud of,
I wonder.
But
so you have that, and then what happens?
yeah, and then like 3 days later, I had open heart surgery.
Okay, so do you go with her to the hospital for the open heart surgery?
I
You stayed back?
at home.
Describe that day, what that feels like to you and what's going on in your relationship with God, because this is probably the first time in your life you've ever had something this serious, and it's you and you're young. What's that day like?
That day, it was scary. I really stayed strong, and I was trying to stay so strong around the kids. And I will tell you, their teachers were wonderful. I knew their classes and teachers were praying for me. And they reached out to me, you know, assuring me, don't worry, you know, we're really keeping an eye on them. And so I knew that they had a lot of support, and you know, Mommy was trying to stay really strong for them. But yet the night before, they did go to spend the night at their grandparents for a couple days. I did not, and the doctor told me that first day when I came out of surgery, I wasn't gonna look like Mommy looks.
Right.
And which is, from what I'm told, is pretty true. It was pretty gruesome. So it was a couple days later. I was still in ICU, but then Troy brought the kids in to see.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was on I had my surgery on February 12th, and they came in on Valentine's Day.
What'd you think when you went in?
She still didn't look like herself.
I remember seeing my dad after his aortic valve was replaced in a bypass, and when you walk in there after the surgery for the first time, let alone 2 days later, oh my goodness, you think, how can anybody recover from this?
She just didn't look like herself because she had tubes coming out right here, and she has a big scar right down her ribs. She just didn't look like herself at all.
Now, can you communicate at that time okay? And talk a little bit? And,
yeah.
And are they doing that deal where they're pushing on your chest with the pillow and making you breathe? And
awful.
That's like horrible pain, right?
That's the most horrible pain, honestly, I've ever felt in my life, was breathing in that.
And it's to help you not get pneumonia, right?
Yes.
That's the whole purpose of the pain?
To keep your lungs cleared, because that is a big, big fear after open heart surgery. Yes.
And so what's recovery like? Do you have to kind of rehab for a couple weeks there, or do you get sent home before that?
I was in the hospital for 6 days, and then I was sent home, and then I had where they send a nurse out to check on you. I think it was twice a week, and did all my vitals and stuff. I will say, I was at a closing 2 weeks after surgery.
Get out of here.
And she was doing real estate in the hospital.
Well, she's never going to die. She's just going to go out of commission.
Yeah, I had to be driven around for several weeks.
That's amazing.
But
that is amazing. So you hit the ground running in your recovery. You just come back, start doing business. And
I did go through. I was back on my laptop, and you know, I couldn't drive for. It was 6 weeks. I was on pain medicine for several weeks, pretty strong. I have a great office that works as a team, and they really backed me up. But I was able to make phone calls and get on my laptop, and so yeah, I got back in the swing of things.
So Jensen, about this time, you're starting to be inspired to write a song or songs?
It was really a year or two afterwards when I started thinking about like my feelings through it, because at that time I didn't really even think about writing songs. It was more like I was just thinking about my mom and if I was gonna have her, and I was so thankful that I still had her. And it was like 2 years later when I was really thinking about it and trying to get into writing songs, I was like, what do I want to write a song about? And my mom's heart surgery and like the journey through my faith and growing so much closer to God just always came up in my mind.
And what was the song? What was the first song you wrote?
Railroad.
Railroad. And you've also been inspired by things that you've seen in school. I think bullying was one of them. Can you describe the scenario around that?
Yeah, I got bullied quite a bit. And it just really set this thing on my heart to want to write songs that inspire people, because I got made fun of for my looks and like my outward appearance, and sometimes even for just being me. And I think that everybody should be themselves and not ever try to hide who they truly are and not ever be self-conscious about themselves. And I catch myself still sometimes today looking in the mirror and not feeling like beautiful how God made me. And I have to stop myself because I know that God made me the way He wanted to make me. And when I'm saying that I'm not beautiful, I'm saying God messed up. And
amen.
God
Don't you ever
do that.
forget that. There's no reason you should have ever been bullied, no reason you should ever be concerned about that image. You're beautiful. And it comes from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be a Proverbs 31 woman all the way.
Mm-hmm.
What song did you write out of that experience?
I wrote Pretty, and it kind of says it in the title. But my favorite part is the chorus where it says, "Those pretty girls wouldn't be so pretty," because it was definitely the popular girls who were pretty and they had it all together and they just acted perfect and pretty. And they were the ones that would make fun of me and just say very deteriorating things that they said to me.
It shouldn't, but it just shocks me. And if I had 4 girls, you know. What caused you to decide to lose 68 pounds in 1 year?
Well, honestly, my weight's been an issue I've battled all my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's been an up and down thing since I was, probably 5th, 6th grade, I can remember, So it's just been one of those things that I've tried everything and I've succeeded, and then you gain it back and more. And I was just saying yesterday that at 47 years old, oh gosh, I said that on the camera.
Everybody was thinking a lot younger.
I feel better than I did when I was in my 20s. And I even going through what I did through heart surgery, this weight battle's been a whole nother thing. But I am finally at the point, and actually I'm a health coach now too, which never in my life did I think I would be. But I'm telling you, God blessed me with this, and He finally gave me a strong mind through this journey. Through discipline and this journey of weight loss, that I finally feel like I've succeeded and come out with a clear mind. I feel closer to God now than I ever have before, because I feel like I've served Him. I mean, He gave us, our bodies are supposed to be a temple that we take care of. And I have not taken care of, I have for short periods, but I haven't honored my body the way I'm supposed to for Him. And I truly feel, for the first time in my life, I'm there.
That's awesome.
And now I'm blessed that I can share this. I've got friends, doing the same thing. I've got family members, my mom and my aunt and cousin, and it's just awesome.
And is it an eating plan?
A
new lifestyle way of eating?
Yep.
That's awesome. You're a picture of success, and it's awesome how God has blessed you with health, how that cold led to where you are today, and the wisdom of the doctors. It's just awesome, and how you're in God's hands. And I'm so excited and eager to see what God's going to do with your singing career. Since you're here, could we have you grab your guitar and maybe you do a song for us?
Yeah,
What song would you do?
Polaroid.
All right, let's do Polaroid. And this is written from a school experience as well?
Yeah, it's actually from my friend. to just encourage her.
Beautiful.
Through my sandy blonde hair, and I don't care who stares. Please judge me for being me. I'll accept apologies when you leave, but don't forget it, 'cause you'll regret it if you never ever smile. Every picture that we stopped to take, every Polaroid and memory made was a moment we realized the thrill. Every standard that we finally met made new we could never get, but at least the low will always fill us still. We're just driving down an old dirt road, looking for a way to go before we run out of gas. But the smiles, the laughs are over about any evil thought that's sour, 'cause I'll never forget the good in you, oh in you. Don't run, don't hide, we all let you steal. The pictures, the memories will never die. You can still change your mind. Every picture that we stopped to take, every Polaroid and memory made was a moment we realized the thrill. Every standard that we finally met made a new one we could never get, but at least the low will always fill us still. We're just driving down an old dirt road, looking for a way to go before we run out of gas. But the smiles, the laughs are over about any evil thought that's sour, 'cause I'll never forget the good in you, oh in you.
Amazing. 1,000,000 downloads, and you heard it here first. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
So much.
Hi, I'm Sarah Westfall. Join us next week for another episode of The Restoration Road.
She's awesome.